unless you want tar balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Swim in the ocean, you'll have balls in your mouth. Go ahead! Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your Now we got bad blood, yeah we got problems. I think we can use something. They don't really need me, cause now we got bad blood, bad blood. Did you have to do this? I was thinking that you could be trusted. Did you have to do it when we shot it? Now it's all good. Did you have to get me where I'm maybe I could breathe. Running into me, lost in the woods, I can find it right at me. Yeah, we got bad love. Used to be bad love. Take a look what you done. Baby, we got bad blood, yeah, we got problems. I don't think we can solve them. They don't really need me, cause we got bad blood, yeah. We'd be fine, still got scars on my back from your knife. Don't think it's in the past. These kind of wounds, they last and days. You should think it all through. All these things that will catch up to you. In time you feel what you know is wrong. So coming my way, baby, please don't bad love. Used to be bad love. So take a look what you've done. We got bad blood, yeah, we got problems. I don't think we can solve them. They don't really need me, cause we got bad blood. Sad days don't fix bullet holes. Stay on solid just for show. You can live like that when you see we're cold. Sad days don't fix bullet holes. Stay on solid just for show. But if you love like that, it's blood for cold. Yeah, we got bad blood. No use to be a bad blood. Take a look what you've done. got problems, so I think we can solve them. It'll really be good. We got answers. Take a look at what you've done. We got answers. Yeah, we got problems.
What's up? Boochcast fans, listeners across the internet, radio waves. This is Vinny Bucci, aka the Booch, and this is that time again. Once again, yet again for the Boochcast. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, August 16th, 2016. It is 2:30 in the afternoon, and some of you might be listening to this a little bit confused, like, Booch, you're doing the show at 2:30 in the afternoon? Has the time permanently changed? No, it is not permanently changed. I will let you guys know if the time should ever change, because anything can happen with the Boochcast, depending on what happens in my life, what schedules can go down, times can change, but no. What happened was, you'll notice the title of today's show is called Shitty Day Take 2. That's the title of today's show. Now, for those of you that tuned in live to the show that I did earlier today in the afternoon, either by Blog Talk or YouTube, you'll notice the title of that show was called Dummies Here, Dummies There, Dummies Everywhere.
Dummies,
Yeah. Well, here's what happened with the show I did earlier today. Number one, it started late due to outside sources. Number two, I had technical issues with Blog Talk Radio as I was midway through my rants, midway through my show. And also, when I look back on the episode, I realized that at the time, I was very, very mad, very full of piss and vinegar. And not that I'm not upset now, because believe me, I am. I was much angrier earlier. So I had a lot of shit that I need to get off my chest. And now that I've had time to reflect, in the time between Blog Talk Radio shutting down and the episode re-airing, and this re-airing that I'm doing, which was about a 30-minute gap, I realized that maybe it wasn't smart for me to say some of the shit I should have said. But you know what? When I'm angry and I'm pissed off, that's what I do. And people have a tendency to make me angry, get me pissed off, because either A, they don't think I'm going to say anything about them, or B, they find it entertaining when Booch loses his fucking mind. Now, I know that some of you out there even love it when I lose my fucking mind. I go on rants. I've been known for my epic rants. Some of them are funny, and some of them may even be almost Dr. Cox-like. Now, Dr. Cox, of course, I'm referring to the doctor from Scrubs, played by John C. McGinley, who was my favorite character on the whole show, Scrubs. And at some point, I do plan on doing a Netflix throwback thing with them down the road. And when I do, I am definitely going to talk about that show more, because I loved it so much. I was so mad when they stopped making more of them, because I truly believe it was probably one of the best shows on the planet. I loved it. I think that Scrubs is one of the best shows on TV, or was one of the best shows on TV at one point. It was one of the, I don't watch a lot of TV, but Scrubs was one of the few shows I would watch, you know, as I've gotten older and less interested in TV. But anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, I feel a little bit better now. So I'm not going to repeat anything that I ranted and raved about during the dummies here, dummies there, dummies everywhere thing. And who knows, maybe at some point down the road, if I get angry enough, I'll redo it again. I'll just do one more dummy button hit for all the dummies that pissed me off yesterday on Monday.
Dummies,
Yeah. So there we go. That's one time for the dummies. And like I said, if you tuned in live to the show at the debacle that I had earlier, you know who the dummies are. I do want to talk about a couple of things, though, and then I'm going to jump right into Monday Night Raw because I've got a tight schedule today, and I'm not going to bullshit today. So basically, what I'm going to say today is you'll notice at the top of the show I played once again the song Bad Blood, which is originally done by Taylor Swift, but this was a cover done by my good friend Desmond Dagenhart, who currently is involved in a contest, a country music contest run by Kicks 1015 FM, the country music station here in Atlanta, where you have the opportunity to win a recording contract, get your music played on Kicks 1015. Desmond could even make an in-studio appearance there, which would be great because it would be an awesome way to further Desmond's career. And because he's a musician and I'm a comedian, we're not really competing with each other. So I have no problem whatsoever helping him get his votes. So what you do is you go to atl.mdmgames.com/NashNextCountry ATL/default.aspx. You go to that website, you register as a fan, unless you're a country music artist. But if you're not a singer, if you're just looking to vote, go into the fans section, register an account if you haven't already. If you did register an account and you voted during the first challenge, just log back into your account and you can go straight to the second challenge where you can vote for Desmond. Basically, in this challenge, they are given a list of songs and they choose the one that they want to cover. That's basically what they do. They pick the song that they want to cover, but it has to be a song from the list that is given to them. Then they pick the song they want to cover. Now, Desmond, as I said before, chose to cover Bad Blood. We recorded it this past Friday at Desmond's house. So that's why I have the audio to play it. And also, I'm playing it now to save you the trouble of having to listen to it later on. It's the same exact song. It's the same, exactly how it's recorded. So basically, you just go online, register, find Desmond Dagenhart, give him a 5-star rating, and help him advance to the third and final challenge, so he can get to the finals and hopefully win this contest. And you know, Desmond, as I said before, he's been a friend of mine Desmond and I have been friends for 4 years. In the 4 years I've known him, I've seen him perform a few times, and he is immensely talented. That's why I love having him on the show. He has a great personality and mind for the wrestling business. He plays amazing music, which is why I've always, every time he puts out a new, music, every time he puts up a new song, whether it's a song he wrote himself or a song that he is, covering, I always play it here on the show to, showcase his talent and how great he truly is. And I would not ask you guys to take time out of your busy schedule to vote for Desmond if I didn't truly think he was worthy of winning this contest. I do think he's worthy, and I think that you guys that are true fans of the Boochcast, you love his music, you support his music, and I think you guys should go and cast your vote for Desmond so he can move on to the next round and make himself, his family, and the Boochcast proud. Also, on that note, one more thing that I want to mention is during the earlier show that I did that didn't go well, I received a call during that show from my former Boochcast co-host and longtime best friend, Jerry Truman. Jerry called in to talk to me about something that I was ranting and raving about earlier that I'm not going to get into right now. But I will say that Jerry and I had a great conversation, and I found out that this Thursday at 8 p.m., he is going to be part of a very special show taking place at the Highland Inn Ballroom, which is called the Roast of Pikachu. That is what's going down. He's involved in the Roast of Pikachu, and what that means is it is basically a comedy roast that is being run by the one and only Mr. Joe Pettis, who is a big-time Atlanta comedian as well as producer. He produces many comedy shows, and one thing he loves to do is character roasts. Because as you guys know, the last time I had him on a show here on the Boochcast, we were promoting the roast of the Macho Man Randy Savage, which I was involved in. I had Joe Pettis on, as well as his friend Mark Sedurla was on the show as well. I was playing myself. Joe Pettis was Daniel Bryan. Mark Sedurla was Jake the Snake Roberts. And they all just have different wrestling characters, and they do a roast where they roast each other. They write the material, but they present it as the character. And try to write in that style. Well, this time around, they're doing the Roast of Pikachu to celebrate the success of the game Pokemon Go. Joe likes to take advantage of that, of latest trends. And it'll take place this Thursday at 8 p.m. at the Highland Inn Ballroom, 644 North Highland Avenue, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30306. I believe the doors open at 8, but the show will officially start at 9. And yeah, it says right here. And on the show will be local talent. We got Olive Lynch, who will be playing the role of Pikachu, the guest of honor. Joe Pettis will be playing Ash Ketchum, and I assume he'll be the roast master for the evening. Jason Mallory is going to be Professor Oak. William Miracle is going to play Sonic. Yoshi Sadiq is going to be Yoshi, which is kind of anticlimactic. Mo Aurora will be Mario. Justin Thompson will be Luigi. Jerry, of course, will be Brock, who is Ash and Misty's friend in the Pokemon series. Greg Behrens is going to be the Paperboy. Matthew English is going to be Link. And Justin Harris is going to play Wario. So this is the talent you can expect at the Highland Inn Ballroom this Thursday for the Roast of Pikachu. This is going to be fun. This is going to be intriguing. And it is definitely going to be something that will be helpful in showing Atlanta comedy can be diverse and fun and amazing. So for all the Boochcast fans and listeners out there, if you are and viewers, if you're a fan of Jerry Truman or Joe Pettis or any of the comics that I've listed, make sure you guys go to the Highland Inn Ballroom this Thursday for the Roast of Pikachu. Make sure you guys go and check that out. And also, one more thing I want to plug, and then we're going to jump into the Raw recap here. As also, over the weekend, another big thing that I did was I got to conduct a one-on-one interview with Josh Harris, Atlanta comedian Josh Harris. And as I mentioned before, we taped the interview over the weekend. The interview is going to air on the Boochcast Live Friday, August 26th. Next Friday night. Sorry. Next Friday afternoon. Sorry. Next Friday at 12 p.m. here on the Boochcast, I will be airing the interview with Josh Harris that I taped over the weekend. I'm going to be editing it this weekend, getting it all together, and then I am going to post, and then I'm going to air it on next Friday, the 26th, on the Boochcast. Now, on the 27th, which is next Saturday night, that's definitely at night, at 7 p.m., Josh Harris will be holding his going away party at the Relapse Theater. That's right. September the 2nd, he is going to be moving to Los Angeles, and he's going to be having a going away party at the Relapse. This will be his last show in Atlanta before he moves to LA. Now, that doesn't mean he won't come back to Atlanta if he starts touring again, but it means he'll be building a home base in Los Angeles. So if you're a fan of Josh Harris, or if you're listening to the Boochcast and you live in Georgia and you've never seen Josh Harris perform and you really want to, this is your last chance. August the 27th at 7 p.m. is your last chance to check him out. It'll be August 27th at 7 p.m. You can get your tickets now at funnyjoshlive.com, which is the official website of Atlanta comedian Josh Harris. So make sure you get your tickets now before they sell out. Also, don't forget, it'll be Saturday the 27th at 7 p.m. at the Relapse Theater. And don't forget, Friday the 26th at 12 p.m. here on the Boochcast, you can hear my full exclusive interview with Josh Harris. And you'll notice the title of the show will be called Josh Harris Part 2, because I've had Josh Harris on one time in the past, but it was for 10 minutes. We talked about a couple of things, and that was it. This time around, we got a real solid interview out of this. 47-minute talk. It was amazing. It was great. And I definitely look forward to you guys checking it out, because he is truly a tremendous talent. He was a great conversationist, great conversation. It kicked ass. I loved it. I cannot wait till next Friday for you guys to check this out. And also, don't forget, the next guest coming up, I'm hoping to get Joe Pettis for Thursday, but if I can't, then the next guest coming up will be Eddie Ift. That's right. Let me plug this again. Nationally touring comedian. I take that back. Eddie Ift. This is his album right here. Eddie Ift, live from Australia. He'll be performing at the Laughing Skull Lounge all weekend long. He'll be here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night at the Laughing Skull Lounge. So whatever scheduled time you can come in to meet him. My personal opinion, I would recommend the Friday, Saturday shows. So that way you can go see the Roast of Pikachu on Thursday, and then Friday or Saturday or Sunday, go check out Eddie Ift at the Laughing Skull Lounge. This is his album, live from Australia. I'm sure he'll be selling copies of it. He'll even autograph it for you after the show. Make sure you meet him, talk to him. He's a tremendous talent, very, very funny, personal friend of mine, and I look forward to interviewing him this week for the Boochcast. Now, when that episode will air will depend on when I get the interview. Now, if I'm able to interview him Thursday night, then I will air the interview Friday the 19th on the Boochcast. But if I end up doing the interview on Friday or Saturday, then I will air the interview probably either next Wednesday or next Thursday on the Boochcast. One of those 2 days, the 24th or the 25th, is when this interview will air if I get it on Friday or Saturday. But if I interview it Thursday, I'm going to air it Friday the 19th, and we'll be good to go. So make sure you guys go to the Laughing Skull Lounge this weekend, pick a date, and see Eddie Ift. And make sure you check out the Boochcast, because he's about to be my next big guest. And of course, the interview with Tim Andrews is still pending, but that'll be pending and up in the air, and it will happen when it happens. But I know I'm looking forward to having Tim on this show, and I know he's looking forward to having me on his. It's just a matter of getting our schedules together, because he's really busy, I'm really busy, we got a lot going on. And on that note, we will now commence with the recap of Monday Night Raw. This is the go-home edition before SummerSlam. It was in Corpus Christi, Texas. And the show opens up with footage from earlier in the day where Seth Rollins is outside the arena. And as we all know, this Sunday he'll be facing Finn Balor to crown the first ever WWE Universal Champion. And here's what Seth had to say about facing Finn Balor and knowing that at SummerSlam, he's not only going to meet Finn Balor, but he's going to meet Finn Balor as the Demon King.
Can you feel that? That is the feeling of inevitability. See, we are 6 days away from SummerSlam, which means we are 6 days away from me proving to the world once again why I am the man. Which means we are 6 days away from me turning the inevitable into reality when Seth Rollins becomes the first ever WWE Universal Champion. But before I make history this Sunday, I've got a little business to tend to with my SummerSlam opponent, Finn Balor. Or should I say, the Demon King. Now, I've been waiting all week to do this, and I'm not going to wait any longer. So I am going to call out the Demon King right now. Where are you, Demon King? Show yourself, Demon King. Just like I thought. Well, the Demon King is too scared to find the man. And tonight, the man is going to find the Demon King.
Okay. This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Seth Rollins wants to call out the Demon King. I'm like, the footage is from earlier in the day. How do we even know the Demon King is even going to show up? And why would the Demon King show up before the show starts? So right there, this segment may absolutely no sense. It would have been better if he said, tonight I'm going to call out the Demon King, and then ended the segment right there. End of clip. That would have been better. But to have him expect the Demon King to just show up outside the building is kind of dumb. So I feel like this, in a way, was an unnecessary segment and did nothing to benefit the show at all. If anything, this makes Seth Rollins look like a coward, which I guess as a heel, he does kind of look like a coward. But still, I felt it was a waste of time. I felt that this segment did not belong on the show. Or at the very least, let him say, I'm going to call out the Demon King and just end it right there. I think that would have been a better segment than what we just saw. And on that note, we cut to the inside of the building where we see Rusev and Lana inside the ring. They're in the ring. Everybody's trying to get them out of the ring, but they're yelling, they're screaming. Lana's going off. Apparently, they're a little upset about their wedding celebration getting ruined last week. So here's what Rusev and Lana are going to say in response to Roman's disrespect.
No! My husband and I will not leave you. No, all of you will listen to what we have to say. Last week, Roman Reigns ruined a historical event. We were nowhere near done with our wedding celebration. So tonight, there will be no Raw. No Raw, no matches, none of your superstars, nothing until Roman Reigns comes over here and apologizes. We're not leaving, Roman. I'm waiting for you. He's calling out Roman Reigns. Rusev wants an apology. You are no general manager without me, without Rusev. I'm the greatest United States champion ever, and I'm on your show. I demand respect. I need my respect, and I need it right now. Yes. They don't want to see you. There's plenty of time. But all the time you need my respect. No, I'm not leaving here. I'm not going to leave. And you know how last week I told you you're the greatest general manager of all mankind? Well, I lied. You just suck. How can you get to a United States Championship match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? That man has done nothing to deserve my title. Opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And I need my respect, though. I don't have to acknowledge your little authority because you're not the real authority. And the Stephanie McMahon, a person who knows what to do around here. Let's get some help out here. Trying to read Stephanie, come. The commission. That call, you know, a lot of the bands out here. No, the best move for Lucy is to Stephanie out here like this. Thank you. Thank you. Please get in the ring. Don't stay out. You gotta wonder what Stephanie's gonna do. Come on, man. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for coming. You know what it is to be married to a great superstar, so I know that you can understand me.
Rita, this behavior is completely unacceptable. You want to come out here and ask for respect, but you're not going to show any to Mick Foley, a man who has given his life and his career for this business. Nobody deserves respect more than Mick Foley. He is the general manager of Raw, and I support all of his decisions.
He doesn't need respect. I'm the champion of your show. I need respect. Tell him who is it? Or maybe you know what? I'll give the little Vinny a call, and your big brother change. They appreciate talent. They appreciate the greatest United States champion. Well, I guess the number one contender for the U.S. title, heard it up. Roman Reigns. Like an apology is going to end this, then so be it. Rusev, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you found that website. You know, where you met your wife. And I'm also sorry because one day you two are going to bump uglies with you. And y'all are going to make me ugliest little Sasquatch babies. Roman. You disgust me. You freaky shit. You're nothing but a wannabe superstar that you just look at yourself. Why don't you go ahead and put a lipstick? Actually, all the time because you're so cool. And all these stupid people that support you. But I don't know if you like waiting till then. I say we do it right now.
Hang on a second. Okay, as is going to happen at SummerSlam, Roman. Okay?
This is much more than a United States Champion SummerSlam match. This is about my wife's honor. So I'm going to kick your ass. Hold on, good. So you want to respect, you want to defend your wife's honor? Then how about this? How about, SummerSlam, it's about Roman Reigns taking on Rusev for the United States Heavyweight Championship. But a married man, I can respect that. You want to defend your wife's honor? Then tonight will be Rusev against Roman Reigns. To defend Lana's honor right here in Corpus Christi, Texas. All right, I like that decision. It's going to be Rusev versus Roman Reigns tonight as Rusev looks to defend the honor of his wife, Lana.
All right, so we got ourselves a heck of a segment here. I see one thing good about this and one thing bad. The good thing I like is that Stephanie McMahon is now officially, from what I can tell, a babyface. She's not playing the heel role anymore. She's supporting all of Mick Foley's decisions. She's standing up for Mick Foley. And it looks like the two of them together are actually going to make Raw or are determined to make Raw a great show and really compete against SmackDown. So I like that because I don't want to see any more heel GMs or heel commissioners or none of that shit. That shit does not need to happen anymore. I don't want to see any of that. I just want them to run the show and just let the good guys and the bad guys fight it out amongst themselves. I don't want to see any more heel GMs or commissioners trying to screw the baby face over. It's not a great... We've seen enough of that with the authority angle. That is something we want to go away. Just like in NXT, William Regal's not being a heel GM trying to screw things up. Triple H ain't doing none of that. Just leave it the same way on the main roster. Just let it be. And I like that. So that was something I enjoyed in that segment. Here's what I don't like about this segment. The fact that Rusev and Roman Reigns is taking place tonight, 6 days before SummerSlam. First of all, I don't like seeing any physical matches between big names 6 days before pay-per-view. Because I still remember John Cena tearing his pectoral muscle 6 days before Unforgiven, which caused him to forfeit the title after he had been champion for pretty much a full year. And then having to forfeit and surrender the title. I was not too happy about that. That being said, the way I see it, this match can go one of two ways. It either needs to end in a disqualification countout, or there needs to be some cheating involved. Like if Rusev wins, Lana has to help him. He has to cheat. And if he locks Roman Reigns in the Accolade, Roman has to pass out. He cannot tap out. He's got to pass out from being knocked unconscious, like Cena did when he fought Rusev at Fastlane. He passed out. That's what needs to happen here. But there cannot be a clean victory between these two competitors at all. It cannot end clean. Otherwise, it's going to take all the momentum out for SummerSlam. It really will. And on that note, we're going to jump right into the first official match of the evening. We got Sheamus versus Sami Zayn. However, before that, Byron Saxton's in the ring with Sheamus. And here's what he has to say about his upcoming match.
Sheamus, tonight you have a match with Sami Zayn, but as we just saw, the past 2 weeks you've been fighting with Cesaro over who is... Let me stop you right there, Byron. It's obvious by proof I'm the more dominant superstar here in the WWE. Way more dominant than Cesaro. So as far as I'm concerned, when I kicked his head off his match against Rusev last week, I just shut your mouth. I'm in the middle of a conversation here. You better respect me. I proved I'm the better athlete than Cesaro. So I'm moving on to greener pastures like Sami Zayn. Now, who is Sami Zayn, huh? There's a brave man behind Twitter, right? Look at all these little comments about me. Let's be upfront about one thing. Each one of you here paid to see me. So who's stupid now? In regards to Sami Zayn, he's nothing to me. Yeah, he's a great superstar here. He's a rival from NXT. But as far as I'm concerned, he's just a cheap knockoff of the Celtic Warrior. And he can say all he wants on Twitter. But when he stands in here with me, well, I'll do what I always do. I'll kick his bleeding head off. Sheamus means business.
Obviously, Sheamus is a man on a mission to prove that he is not a joke and that his head is back in the game. And that's exactly what happened. Now, of course, during this match, Cesaro is on commentary. So he joins the commentary table to check out the match. And this match was actually very well done, in the sense that it was a decent in-ring match, but from a storyline standpoint, it was perfection. And I'll tell you why. First of all, you had a great in-ring match between Sami Zayn and Sheamus. Each of them hitting their moves, each of them hitting the high spots, each one showing that at any point they could beat the other. You saw in this match, it could go either way. Then, at the end, Sheamus hits the Irish Curse backbreaker. He goes for the bro kick. Cesaro leaves the commentary table, distracts Sheamus. Sami Zayn connects with the Haluva kick. 1, 2, 3. The winner of the match, Sami Zayn. Here's why this was perfect. Sheamus and Cesaro are currently in a rivalry. This now proves that the rivalry will continue, that it will escalate, and that it's going to get better. Also, by Sami Zayn winning the match, it boosts Sami Zayn's credibility, which has needed to happen for the longest time, especially since he beat Kevin Owens at Battleground, which, as I said before, needed to be done. That was a moment that needed to be done. It had to work. If it didn't work, because if that didn't happen, Sami would have been buried completely. So now we need to build Sami back up. So he needs to win as much as possible. And by Cesaro causing distraction, it doesn't hurt Sheamus. And it ups this rivalry. And now, if this with this rivalry being a focal point of Monday Night Raw, this means that if, this is a big if Cesaro wins, he could become a future contender for the Universal title. If Sheamus wins, he could definitely be a future contender for the Universal title. I think this goes way beyond the United States Championship at this point, because Cesaro's already fought Rusev and lost. But now either one of them could be a U.S. champion after this, and it probably wouldn't be so bad. But the Universal title is the big one. And we could always use more main event players. And I feel like Sheamus and Cesaro are at a point in their career where they could be main event players. Sheamus is already a main event player. Should be. Cesaro, he's there. All they got to do is keep this rivalry going and give Cesaro as much mic time as possible. because he's getting better on the mic, especially after that shoot promo he cut during the draft. So he is definitely a star, and he is definitely more than capable of holding his own inside that ring. And like I said, everything that needed to be done was done. The rivalry got more intense, and Sammy got the win. Couldn't have told a better story than that. And on that note, we're going to cut to the backstage area with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, who are now called Jericho. And this Sunday, they'll be facing Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. However, tonight, Kevin Owens is facing Big Cass. And here's what Jericho has to say about that. And hopefully, this clip will work.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guests at this time, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens.
It works.
Gentlemen, last week you accepted the challenge to face Enzo and Cass at SummerSlam, but tonight, Kevin, you face Big Cass one-on-one.
Said, it's not one-on-one.
It's a one-on-one match.
No, it's not. Because I've got Kevin Owens back. You understand me?
That's right, Tim, and I have Chris Jericho's back. See, in just 1 week, Chris and I were closer than Enzo and Cass have ever been.
And everything we say is legit, Brian. Unlike Enzo.
Oh, he's a certified G?
Really? Who certified him? The G Association of America? Huh?
He doesn't even have a certificate.
They don't have a license to be a G.
Or Robert, what about Big Cass, who walks around talking about how he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that? Well, you know what you can't teach Cass, apparently, is how to spell properly, because there is no A or W in the word soft. I know that, and English isn't in my first language.
It's funny. You like that one? Really?
Brian, let me ask you. Cass and Enzo are an absolute cancer in our locker room. Do you think that's funny?
No. Let me tell you what's not funny, Steven. Tonight, when Kevin Owens faces Big Cass one-on-one, Cass is a big problem. You better watch it.
Watch what? And James, by it, Chris means watch me beat Big Cass tonight, and then watch us humiliate them Sunday night in their hometown at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's right, Nathaniel. And after the match, after SummerSlam, some stupid idiot asked him, "Hey, Enzo and Cass, how you doing?" Answer, "Not so good."
Because Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho just beat the hell out of us.
You dig?
Well, this is the strangest promo I've ever seen. Kevin Owens is like, Chris Jericho's like, I got Kevin Owens back, so it's not a one-on-one match. It's like, that's exactly what it is. It's Kevin Owens supposed to fight Big Cass. So it's once again, it's Jericho and Owens thinking they're smarter than everybody else, using loopholes and bullshit logic to prove their points, and living in a world where they think every ridiculous, fucked up thing they say is right. It's actually not that. So it's actually pretty good for them. I got Kevin Owens back. I'm sure it is. But if you interfere in the match, you get disqualified, which is why it's a one-on-one fight. But of course, and I love the fact that it's Tom Phillips. They kept messing up his name, pretty much saying you're not important enough. So we're just gonna keep changing your name because that's what we do. And it's true. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho have developed quite the chemistry in recent weeks. I actually think that now they're starting to really bond as a tag team. And the fact they're calling themselves Jericho kind of tells me that they're probably, assuming they win this Sunday, which I don't think they will. But if they end up beating Enzo and Cass this Sunday, I could see Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens remaining a tag team for a long time. I could see Jericho attempt to get a shot at the tag team titles. And who knows? Jericho might become a tag team champion again with Kevin Owens, who already has a reign, has at least 2 reigns as Intercontinental Champion. So he's definitely, having a tag team belt would not be too bad. It would add to his resume. So I don't think that would be much of an issue for him. At least I don't think so anyway. And on that note, we are going to move on to the next segment where we cut to another section of the backstage area where Sheamus and Cesaro are arguing. Obviously, Sheamus is pissed off that Cesaro interfered in his match. And here's what goes down between the Celtic Warrior and the Swiss Superman. Holy shit. So now this rivalry is definitely getting into Universal title levels. This is what I love. It's a best of 7 series, and it's going to start at SummerSlam. So we got match 1 in the best of 7. So basically, best out of 7. So I think that means 2, 3. So 4 out of 7. So we're gonna see what happens. It's just like baseball, best of 7 series. So whoever wins at SummerSlam will get the first victory and then move on to the next. And what I could see happening here is I think what they should do is, I don't know what the Raw pay-per-views are gonna be, but I think that there should be pay-per-views where it ends, but make it sporadic. Like, let's say, like SummerSlam here. Then you got the September pay-per-view, the October pay-per-view. You could do it at Survivor Series. Just not have Sheamus or Cesaro on the Team Raw thing. Let them have their best of 7. Then, whatever the Raw pay-per-view is for December. Then you've got the Royal Rumble. And then, if you really want to drag it out, have that 7th best of 7th match, have it conclude at WrestleMania 33. Have Sheamus versus Cesaro, the final match at WrestleMania 33 in Orlando. Make it Sheamus and Cesaro. And you put a special stipulation where the winner of the final 7th match will be the next number 1 contender to the Universal title. Assuming whoever the Universal Champion is retains their title at WrestleMania. You have Cesaro or Sheamus be the next guy. Or if the champ is entitled to a rematch, they can book the rematch, and then after the rematch, have Cesaro retain that get a title shot, or Sheamus get a title shot, depending on who wins the best of 7 series. But that's how I would drag it out. Have the 7 matches take place at pay-per-views. Don't waste them on a Monday Night Raw. At least I don't think so anyway. But that's what I would do. SummerSlam, September, October, November, December, January, February, and then WrestleMania. Or, here's another thing you can do. Have it end at Fastlane, or whatever the February pay-per-view is for Raw. Or if they want to take the February pay-per-view out altogether and just have Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and no pay-per-view in between. But if you do a pay-per-view for Monday Night Raw in February, because I know Fastlane's usually the transition piece, have that be the final battle and let the winner of that match fight for the Universal title at WrestleMania. That's what you do. So that way you have whoever wins the Royal Rumble, they challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Make that the main event of WrestleMania 33. Champion, challenger, whoever it may be. Then what you do is you have Sheamus and Cesaro fight at the next pay-per-view. Whoever wins gets a shot at the Universal title at WrestleMania against whoever it may be, whether it's Finn Balor, whether it's Seth Rollins, whether it's somebody else who wins the title in between all this. And here's what I would do. I would have it go all the way to 7 fights. Give 3 wins to Sheamus, 3 wins to Cesaro, and then here's what you do. At the Fastlane pay-per-view, I'll just say Fastlane until they make one up for Raw. Have Cesaro win at Fastlane. Or make it happen at the Rumble, whatever. Have it happen at Fastlane, all right? Then Cesaro wins the best of 7. Cesaro goes to WrestleMania 33, challenges for the Universal Championship, and wins. Have Cesaro walk out of WrestleMania 33 in Orlando as the WWE Universal Champion. If Cesaro wins that championship, I guarantee you the roof will explode. Blow the roof off the place. Give Cesaro the epic victory. That will make history. That's what I want to see. That right there is a money-making match. A money-making moment. Have Cesaro win the Universal title at WrestleMania. Hell, let the Balor Club dominate till WrestleMania. Have it be Cesaro versus Finn Balor. And have Cesaro beat Finn Balor at WrestleMania and make him the Universal Champion. Roof explodes. Cesaro becomes an enemy of the Balor Club. Make it happen. I'm telling you, it'll be a genius idea. I'm telling you, it will work. That'll be great. So this best of 7 series can do a lot. And I think that is the proper way to go. And on that note, we move on to the next match of the evening, which is meant to be the Dudley Boys versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, because Big E is still out of action with his injury. And before the match, we see Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson still in their Dr. Lab coats for another promo on ring post Titus. And here's what they have to say about this crippling illness.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gallows, and I'm Dr. Anderson. Doctor. Here at Gallows Organization for Nether Area Diseases, our crack medical staff is working around the clock to find a cure for the disease known as ring post Titus. I have fangs under my eyes. We haven't hit the sack yet. How could we? With an epidemic such as this one, compromising upstanding individuals such as the New Day's Big E. That's why we're doing everything we can here in the lab to ensure that our results aren't contagious. We're well endowed with the most up-to-date medical technology. So the ball's in our court to get one more inch closer to finding a cure. So the question is are these mind games going to get to Kofi and Xavier as they head towards SummerSlam?
Well, once again, Gallows and Anderson displaying their humor about the fact that they grabbed Big E by his feet and rammed his testicles into the ring post. They're still continuing to make, they're still making, testicle jokes while messing with blurring the lines of, censorship and everything like that. It's very funny, very entertaining. I love it. I think these guys are very, very good at what they do. And I definitely think that Gallus and Anderson are stepping their game up, and I still see them becoming potentially the tag team champions this Sunday. But then, of course, after that, the bell rings, and we have the match between the New Day and the Dudleys. And this match was relatively short. It didn't really bring a whole lot to the table, really, if I'm being honest. It really didn't bring a whole lot to the table. A lot of issues going around with this. And, of course, these guys kind of just fought back and forth. At one point, Devon tags himself in, accidentally clotheslines Bubba. Bubba rolls out, tag made to Kofi. Woods pushes Devon away, and Kofi with a cross body. Kofi connects with Trouble in Paradise on Devon. 1, 2, 3. The winners of the match, the New Day. Now, I think the Dudleys have been in a situation where they accidentally hit each other before, so I think this could lead to a turmoil within the Dudleys. And I really, 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 really hope that is not the case, because I really, truly do not want to. I don't want to see the Dudleys break up. Like I said before, I don't want to see any more breakups amongst tag teams. We need a tag team division that's solid. Also, I'm a little sick and tired of the fact that the Dudleys are still jobbing and on the lower card and are doing pre-show matches when they are clearly supposed to be the stars of this division. I think it's despicable the way the Dudleys are being treated. If I was Devon or Bubba Ray, I would be very offended by this. But I guess the New Day is so damn popular that they overrule everything. And, the Dudleys got this amazing crowd reaction when they came to Brooklyn, the Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam. And now it looks like they're just being relegated back to the bottom of the barrel. And I'm not too thrilled about it. I feel like the Dudleys deserve better. I feel like the Dudleys need to be the 10-time tag team champions. And there's a part of me that kind of wishes it was them beating the New Day at SummerSlam this Sunday instead of Gallus and Anderson. And hopefully the Dudleys will have an opportunity to get that 10th tag team title and, build up the division and then close out their careers. But then, of course, after the match is over, Xavier and Kofi are celebrating the ring when all of a sudden we get another video from Doc Gallows and Doc Anderson. And here's what they had to say about their findings of ring postitis.
Not another one! Don't get testy, Doc. Don't let this step back. Peter out. Our passion is to find a cure. This may come a little bit of a ballbuster, but we'll need more test subjects. Okay, hold on. You mean to tell me Gallows and Anderson, y'all traveled all over the world, you finally make it to WWE, and you're blowing up eggs in microwaves? Ain't this... Our friend, our partner, our brother, Big E, is seriously hurt. And y'all think that this is a game? Listen, we know you guys weren't here last year, but SummerSlam is where we became your WWE World Tag Team Champions. So, we'll be damned if some patchy-haired, human-looking stylists think that they're going to beat us this Sunday at SummerSlam. Oh, no. That's not going to happen. This in that term is power. You see, we have the power to overcome all odds. We have the power to persevere. Y'all do not have the power to take these championship titles from us. And you don't definitely do not have the power to lay a finger on our new day rock. Yes? When we retain the title Sunday at SummerSlam, Corey, I would say, in my medical opinion, no. Oh, give me a break. The champions are more than ready to successfully defend at SummerSlam. It happens this Sunday from Brooklyn.
Yep. In Brooklyn, we'll see what happens, but obviously I'm going with Corey Graves on this one. I think it's inevitable that Gallows and Anderson are walking out of SummerSlam the tag team champions. The New Day has already been tag team champions for a long time. Hell, they won them last year. They've held on to them ever since. They're going into SummerSlam 1 year as champions. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. As much as I love the New Day, in order for this tag team division to continue to prosper, the New Day has to drop the tag team belts. I think with Big E out of the way, it can be a lot more helpful because it'll just be the two of them. And like I said, they probably plan on giving Big E a singles push when he gets back, so Big E could probably blame them for losing the tag belts and could turn on them and walk away. And then that will split up at least Big E from the New Day, let him go off and do his own thing, and then have Xavier and Kofi maybe keep the New Day prospect alive. I don't know. I just know that the New Day has been very popular for a long time, but it's getting to the point where they are starting to hurt the tag team division by being the champions for so long. Because now it's like the other tag teams don't even matter. And I think that's kind of sad in this day and age of tag team wrestling. And I just feel like there needs to be some changes made. And I feel the best way to make those changes is to really amp up and get things moving in a better direction. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I also love the fact that they use the New Day rocks and talking about their balls and all that. And I thought that was very clever. You know, our New Day rocks. That was pretty cool. And on that note, we're going to cut to the backstage area where we see Seth Rollins walking around looking for the Demon King. He talked about earlier wanting to call him out, but now he's going searching for him. And here's what happens as a result of the search.
Demon King. Demon King. Hey, you two. You seen the Demon King? You guys are useless. Demon King. Anywhere? Huh? You, hey, you seen the Demon King? So, can I give you a little bit of advice? You may think that you're ready for the Demon King, but I'll be in the ring with the Demon King. Shouldn't you? You're not ready. Oh, yeah? Huh? You don't think I'm ready while you go back to whatever hobbit hole you crawled out of, huh? I'm ready. The Demon King's not ready for me.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that, Seth. Maybe someday, eventually, you'll start to believe it. But obviously, you know, Seth, you know, as everyone's telling him, he's not ready for the Demon King. And all I know is this. With the way they're building up the Demon King, it would be I see no reason why Finn Balor shouldn't walk out. Shouldn't walk out with the Universal title. I think that this is going to be Finn Balor's moment. I think with the way they're building him up, the fact they're bringing in the Demon King, if Finn Balor doesn't win the Universal title, it's going to be a major letdown for the brand, for the Raw brand. Because if Seth Rollins wins that title, that Demon King character is going to look weak. It's going to look pathetic. And no one is going to buy into it if it bombs. And the only way I can see it bombing is if they make the mistake of booking Seth Rollins to win, which I don't think it, which I truly believe is not going to happen. But with Seth Rollins having Triple H in his back pocket, anything is possible at this point. It's hard for me to rule Seth Rollins out with the way he's being coddled. So, and obviously Neville, but with the way they're building this, they're definitely making it seem like that Seth Rollins is going to lose to Finn Balor, which I do believe needs to happen because I feel like that's going to build Finn Balor up, and I think forming the Balor Club is going to make this is going to help a lot in the WWE. We're gonna have a legit faction running roughshod over the WWE. I think it's gonna be great. And on that note, we move on to the next match here. We got Nia Jax versus Rachel Levy. And before the match, Byron interviews Rachel, and here's what she has to say about stepping into the ring with Nia Jax.
I'm standing here with Rachel Levy, and Rachel, I'm sure you've seen over the last few weeks the path of destruction that Nia Jax has left in her wake. What makes you believe you can climb this mountain?
I see what I'm up against. But I told you to watch the Summer Olympics non-stop. And if PG Wrestling has taught me anything, it's that I can do anything that I put my mind to. I might be small in stature, but I have so much of a style to take on 3 gold medals. So tonight, I'm taking home the gold.
Well, it's just what the Nia doesn't falter out of the arena. Michael Gordon, like you. You didn't exactly expect a loss in the Lancer from the young lady with blue hair, did you? So not quite.
Wow. What a delusional girl she is. I mean, wow, this is, and I thought only blondes were dumb. Nope. This one was like, it's like you're looking at a giant behemoth of a woman and thinking you're going to whoop her ass. I mean, it's like, and of course, I hate the fact they threw in the Olympics. You could tell she didn't mean half the shit she was saying. And I don't know if this is a girl that's from the Performance Center or just a random indie wrestler from that wrestles around Texas. But all I do know for sure is that if she does work for the Performance Center, she needs a lot of promo work before she gets into a ring. That's all I need to know about that. And this is insane. As we saw Nia Jax make very quick work of Rachel Levy. This is basically another enhancement match where she pushes Rachel, where she lifts up Rachel, sits her on the top rope, and then pushes her off the top rope. Jax throws Rachel back in the ring, puts her on her shoulders, drives her back down hard into the mat. 1, 2, 3. Nia Jax gets the victory. And once again, it's basically Nia Jax causing a path of destruction as they wait to put her in a future rivalry. But right now, they're getting her to showcase her strength. They're trying to get her to showcase all the multiple moves that she's got. So they're hoping this time around they'll actually, have a move set that works, while at the same time not burying other people on the roster. So, and it's a necessary evil. I know some people look at this as a bathroom break. And let me tell you something. If you think that Nia Jax or Braun Strowman or any of them doing their enhancement matches is a bathroom break, all I gotta say is this. You can pee really fast if that's a bathroom break for you. Because holy shit. Those matches are short. I can understand the old Divas matches being bathroom breaks because at least they were like 2 or 3 minutes long. That's a decent amount of time to take a piss. Take a dump, I don't know. Dumps take quite a while. But I don't know anybody that could pee that fast. But on that note, we move on to the next segment here that we got, and it is Paul Heyman with Brock Lesnar. Sorry. I guess I'm no Paul Heyman. That thing really seems to affect me. Ugh. Sorry about that. But anyway, Paul Heyman's in the ring with Brock Lesnar, and they're showing everything that's happened leading up to this moment, which is, of course, the RKO that Lesnar dropped on the RKO that Orton dropped on Lesnar 2 weeks ago here in Atlanta, and the night before when he dropped the F5 when Lesnar invaded SmackDown and hit Orton with an F5. Just pretty much everything being kind of easy going there. Well, now Lesnar's back, and Paul Heyman is ready to get everything started. But just before he can cause the interruption, Paul Heyman gets interrupted. However, the interruption is not from Randy Orton. The question is, who dared to interrupt Paul Heyman? Well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, so I'm just going to play it.
That might be funny, but no, that's not wild. Oh, there's no way about it. That is pretty damn funny. I have to tell you. Laugh it up. Laugh it up. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that Keith Slater is getting another opportunity to get a Monday Night Raw contract and appearance at SummerSlam, and all I have to do is beat your client one-on-one tonight. So what I'm saying, Paul, is that can I please go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar? You're doing way too much partying to reverse form up here. I don't know what is getting into your head, but the show is over. Put him out of your dick back into the trough, right here where the money is. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul P. And this Sunday, my client. Don't disrespect me. Hey, look at me. Look at me. Look in my eyes. I need shit. I have kids that I have to feed. They rely on daddy. My 2 little girls at home and all the other kids that I have are relying on me. Do you hear me? Do you, Paul, do you really think that I want to go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar? Everyone here knows that he's going to whoop my ass, but I have to. I have to. You a stop. Seriously, look at me. You want me to look at you in the eye? Look me in the eye. I'm trying to save your ass right now. My ass can't be saved right now. Your ass can't be saved right now. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. I have kids that depend on me. So that says that I have to go against Brock Lesnar to get a contract. Whoa. I can appreciate that. You got guts, man. You got guts. You got responsibilities, right? I do. You got to put food on the table, right? Yes. You got mouths to feed. Yes. You got kids. I do. I got kids too, man. Come on in here. I feel you. Let's talk about your kids. I don't give a shit for kids. You got 2 choices right here. One, you walk out here on your own 2 feet. 2, you can stand there and keep pissing me off. Randy Orton watching that. Well, later I will give you a ton of credit. At least you are willing to step off and go face to face with Brock Lesnar. Because that's something Randy Orton does not have the manhood to do. Oh, Brock. Randy Orton is a fighter. And fighters like to lay and pray. You know why Randy Orton is a fighter? Because he can't measure up to Brock. Lesnar. I get it. I understand. My job is to promote SummerSlam. I, as an advocate, I'm a hype artist. I'm supposed to sell you on the fact that Randy Orton had a chance against Brock Lesnar, that Randy Orton is resourceful, that Randy Orton is savvy, that Randy Orton is slick, that he's quick, that he's sudden, that Randy Orton is one RKO away from victory against anybody, including Brock Lesnar, except if I were to say those words, my client, Brock Lesnar, does not believe anything that I just said. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the summer of the conqueror, and the beast is in heat. From once again asserting his unparalleled dominance inside the Brocktagon to the massacre that awaits Randy Orton this Sunday at SummerSlam. You want me to hype the box office of Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam? Brock Lesnar is the box office this Sunday at SummerSlam because that one single member of that locker room can stand up to this one ever athlete, not even a 12-time champion, not even a guaranteed future Hall of Famer, not even an authentic WrestleMania main eventer, not even the owner of the RKO. That means not even Randy Orton. You want me to promote why you should buy the WWE Network, why you should subscribe to the WWE Network so you can see SummerSlam this Sunday? Here's the hype. This Sunday at SummerSlam, you have the chance to see a once-ever athlete in action in an official match with an official result that will go down in the history books. You have a rare opportunity this Sunday to see the greatest sports athlete and sports entertainer in the history of this business or mixed martial arts. This Sunday, you have a chance to see live in action, the Beast. Live in action, the Conqueror. Live in action, the next mayor of Suplex City. Live in action, the Viper Slayer. This Sunday at SummerSlam, you have a rare opportunity to see competing in a match. Brock Lesnar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Brock Lesnar, very dominant here tonight, looks to do the same to Randy Orton in 6 nights at SummerSlam.
Wow. I guess Heath Slater learned a valuable lesson. And it was definitely something very bizarre and awkward. And I guess it's a little bit different because not only because it gave Lesnar a chance to speak, which was great when he just said, I don't give a shit about your kids. And luckily USA was able to censor it. But it just showed, damn. And to me, it was great because it showed Lesnar's aggression. He said, get out of the ring or you're going to piss me off. And then Lesnar showed what happens when you piss me off. You get hit with released German suplexes and an F5 and then thrown out of the ring. Or better yet, kicked out of the ring. And then I love the fact that Paul Heyman put the glasses on, shades on briefly and looked cool. Then threw the shades down, got right in the camera and cut the promo that he meant to cut before Heath Slater decided to grace everyone with his presence. And it was kind of good, you know? Paul Heyman, again, at the end, sells everything again and lets us know that Brock Lesnar's the box office and that this is going to be a hell of a fight. And it is kind of like, excuse me, it is kind of like 15 years in the making. And they proved in that moment that we got ourselves a hell of a challenge here. And that this match is actually going to be big. Because the big question is, who's going to win? Is it going to be Brock Lesnar? Or is it going to be Randy Orton? Are they going to continue to let Lesnar dominate the WWE? Or will the fact that he failed that drug test affect anything? Could Orton end up winning? And if Randy Orton does win, how will that affect Brock Lesnar? And who will get the rub ultimately? Because Randy Orton's already a star. Or is Lesnar so majestic now as a performer that he's not going to be used to give anyone a rub, like the Undertaker's streak? They used it to have him be decimated and have it end at WrestleMania, which is why I still don't understand why the Undertaker's winning any more matches after that. And ultimately, we'll see what happens with Brock Lesnar. I know he has signed a multi-year contract. Nobody knows when it's going to expire or if it's going to be renewed. And no one knows for sure if Lesnar is in fact suspended from the MMA or not, because I don't think his trial has happened. But this is definitely going to be an interesting match this Sunday to see what happens between Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. And then, but all I know is after this Sunday, the whole landscape of the WWE is officially going to change. Because we'll see what happens with Lesnar and Orton. We'll see who's the first ever Universal Champion. We'll see who retains what titles, or who wins or loses their titles. It's a 4-hour show. So we can expect to see a lot of craziness going forward. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next match on the card, which is Big Cass versus Kevin Owens. But before the match takes place, we got Enzo and Cass on their way to the ring. And Enzo and Cass do what they do best, and that is be smack talker Skywalkers. And here's their Mike Sabers at work.
My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified chief and a bona fide stunt, and you can't beat that. And this right here, this is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't beat that. Hello, Riverside, how you doing? Fire, does that make you a counterfeit chief? It's going to be a gentleman. This Sunday, live on the WWE Network, me and Big Cass are going to have ourselves a SummerSlam. Well, but you... Because if Jericho wants beef, then we're going to bring the beef straight to that grill. So, Enzo, what are we cooking? How about some weenies? How you doing? The zucchinis. Sausage. Babies. Red fruits. The big one is going to be those 2 pieces of Canadian bacon that Big Nose, Nozzle, Kevin Owens, and John Bon Jericho. Jericho, Owens, Bert, and Ernie. 1 minute your enemies, the next minute your friends. Either way, that's 2 minutes of our lives that you just wasted. No thank you. And at the end of the day, there is still only one more to decide you. And I'm gonna spell it out for you.
Yep. SAWFT soft. That's what we got working with here. And of course, on that note, that's when Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho make their way to the ring. And of course, like I said before, Enzo and Cass are making the whole "how you doing" thing take off without a hitch, which I think is great. You know, it's showing the whole "how you doing," because that is definitely a key important aspect to it, because we're trying to get it to be like the new what chant. This, how you doing? Something else, how you doing? I like the fact that they're keeping that as a regular thing, you know, instead of, you know, and then every now and then they'll get serious and talk about a couple things, but it's a way for Enzo and Cass to have fun. I like the fact that the writers have tapped into that. Now, I don't know if Enzo has people writing for him or if he's cutting his own promos, his own style, his own way. But I do think that either way, he's working around it and things are going great. And I think that if Enzo is in control of his promos, that he's doing a hell of a job as always. And on that note, Kevin Owens and Jericho make their way out to the ring. And this match was what it needed to be. It wasn't great, but it got the job done. You know, Kevin Owens and Big Cass had a decent match. Pretty good. You know, Owens hitting a powerbomb on Cass on the outside, but he counters with a back body drop. Basically, you know, showing off the fact that he is 7 foot tall, and, you know, Owens having to work, you know, twice as hard to get any sort of takedown in on Cass. Then, of course, Jericho hits a cheap shot to Enzo. And Cass sees this, starts chasing down Jericho. Cass with a shot on Owens when he rolls out. Jericho attacks Cass at ringside. The referee then immediately calls for the bell. And then after the match, Jericho and Kevin Owens toss Big Cass into the ring barricade. They throw Cass in, and Cass comes back with right hands. Owens with a super kick, and Jericho with a code breaker on Cass. Owens yells, "You aren't so big now, are ya?" So they kind of take out Enzo Amore, and they just beat down on Colin Cassidy after the match. And then pretty much establish their dominance, which is kind of what needed to happen. So Big Cass wins by disqualification. The beatdown sets up the match for this Sunday, and it gives us the illusion of, or the possibility, I should say, of Jericho winning this Sunday. So that's going to be the big question. Do they want to push Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens as a legit tag team? Or do they want to build up Enzo and Cass and keep them as stars until they're ready to put the tag team belts on them? That's the most important aspect of the show. This is something that's very, very important that needs to be said and needs to be done and needs to be answered. It's very important that they figure that part out, because once they figure that out, then we'll know what direction they really want to go with this. But it's all going to depend. Right now, Jericho does seem to be working well together. And if you have no intention of making Jericho a Universal Champion or Kevin Owens a Universal Champion, then I see no reason to make them go solo. Let them be a tag team. Let them go for the tag team belts. You know, it'll be something great, something new, something different. And we can always, like I said before, we can always use more tag teams. You know, it saves them the trouble of having to call up tag teams from NXT or try to find some from elsewhere to immediately send to Raw or SmackDown. If you can form teams from within the company already, it kind of helps out a little bit. And on that note, we cut to the backstage area where we see Roman Reigns walking through the back, and then all of a sudden Roman gets approached. I think it's by JoJo, and they ask him about the match he's supposed to have with Rusev in the main event, and here's what Roman has to say about fighting Rusev 6 days before SummerSlam.
Excuse me, Roman. Tonight you have an opportunity to show Rusev a little preview of what's to come at SummerSlam. What can we expect?
Son, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to represent my bloodline, and I'm going to whoop Rusev's ass. I don't care what he's fighting for. I don't care what kind of fight he wants us to be. I'm ready for anything. I'm ready for a food fight, a wedding cake fight. You already know. I want it to be the big fight, though, because regardless.
Rusev doesn't want to wait.
Damn. Well, obviously, Rusev is definitely ready to take on Roman Reigns tonight. As I said before, this is about the U.S. Now, again, they are going to fight this Sunday at SummerSlam with the U.S. title on the line. Tonight, at this point, the U.S. title is not on the line. It's just him defending the honor of his wife, Lana, and the crap they went through yesterday. So, obviously, this is Rusev gaining the upper hand, and this could help Rusev gain an advantage going in if Roman's already injured, or if he just beat the hell out of him right there, and Roman Reigns was unable to compete, and they decided to just let him wait out till SummerSlam. They could have easily brought somebody else in to challenge Rusev, and I think that would have been a better way to go. Just have him take him out right there. The main event doesn't happen. And then Rusev has to face somebody else, whether it be Cesaro again or Sheamus or something. I would give Rusev another match and do it that way. Because, again, I still say that them fighting one-on-one is going to devalue whatever happens this Sunday if there's a clean victory. And on that note, we move on to the next segment here, or the next match, which is some tag team action. The Primetime Players with Bob Backlund versus the Shining Stars. And they show footage from earlier where Titus and the Primetime Players reunite. They decided to shake hands and do a one-night only tag team match. So they came out as the Primetime Players like they used to back in the day. And by this time last year, they were tag team champions before they lost the belts to the New Day. And this match it started out great and ended disappointingly. I'll tell you why. The match started off great Epico and Primo showing that they're a great tag team. Darren Young doing a hell of a job. And then of course, and at first the Primetime Players seem to be doing well. They're doing a lot of their trademark tag team moves. Everything was going great. At one point, Titus was talking to Bob Backlund, and Darren Young was pushed into Titus by Primo. Titus didn't see it and didn't know it was an accident and thought Darren Young intentionally knocked him off. So after Primo got a close 2 count, Young caught Primo with a right hand. Titus came in the ring, hit Clash of the Titus on Darren Young, basically turning on him. Backlund yells at Titus. Titus walks out on the match. Primo hooks the leg of Darren Young, gets the pinfall victory. The winners of the match, the Shining Stars. And here's the thing. Obviously, the Shining Stars are relatively new to WWE, at least at this team. I know they used to be Los Matadores, but so It makes a little bit of sense to give the Shining Stars the win, but I'm still kind of pissed off that they're making Darren Young and Titus O'Neil feud with each other, because I don't want this to be a one night only. I want the primetime players permanently back together. And I wish I could sit in a writer's room or sit down with Vince, Stephanie, or Triple H, or whoever's in charge of this, and have someone explain to me why the primetime players are broken up. Why? When neither one of them is good solo. You tried pushing Titus O'Neil by himself. He failed epically. You pushed Darren Young on his own. He failed epically. You put them back together. The crowd loved it. You made them the tag team champions last year. The crowd loved it. And then what did you do? You split them up again. For no reason. You had Titus go on his own. You made it look like you were going to push him. And you dropped the ball with him when it came to Rusev and the U.S. title. You had Darren Young. You put these videos up. We're going to make Darren Young great again. And then he epically fails at Battleground. I don't know what the hell is going on. At this point, the only thing I can see going on with Darren Young is them using him as part of the LGBT storylines that WWE talked about wanting to integrate into their stories. We talked about that briefly yesterday when Derek was here. So that's the only thing I see Darren Young doing. It makes no fucking sense to me why the primetime players are not a team when it is blatantly obvious that they make a fantastic team. It makes complete sense to keep them together. But for some reason, the company doesn't want to do that. They want to push them solo despite the fact they can't get over solo. They do better as a tag team. And history has shown that. It's another example of, like I was saying in the last show, dummies here, dummies there, dummies everywhere.
Dummies, yeah.
Yeah. And on that note, we're going to cut to the next match of the night. This one really caught my attention. Jinder Mahal versus Neville. Now, why did this catch my attention? Because the way Jinder Mahal was dressed when he came out to the ring, he looked like a member of ISIS. WWE is now is definitely selling on the Middle Eastern gimmick, and I know this because I'm typing it in right now. Is ISIS. I'm taking the images, and if I look at this correctly, and I'm pulling up a picture of ISIS to make sure I know exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. The way they're dressed in this picture that I'm looking at right now is, they had him dressed up as a member of ISIS. He had the ski mask, the weird thing, everything. Then, of course, he rips the veil off and the hood off as he gets into the ring. So this is basically a reincarnation of Muhammad Hassan. And then Neville comes out. And I will say this, despite the weird ISIS getup that Jinder Mahal has, these two did, in fact, have a hell of a match. And it was very, very good. Great back and forth action. Jinder Mahal showing that he's a great wrestler. Still hasn't missed a step. Neville, definitely a great talent. Both these men could be, in my opinion, great cruiserweights when the cruiserweight division comes to Raw, which I think will be after the Cruiserweight Classic airs. And then, of course, Neville hits his 450 splash and connects to get the pinfall on Mahal. The winner of the match is Neville. I kind of thought Jinder Mahal was going to win. They were going to try to build him up, but I guess he's back as a jobber and enhancement talent again. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but it was still a great match. It was still a good, decent match nonetheless. You know, it was basic wrestling. Well, basic pro wrestling. And on that note, we cut to the backstage area where we see Mick Foley talking with Stephanie McMahon, and Foley makes a very, very big announcement for SummerSlam. Check out what it is.
What is it?
It's a super exciting show.
You're building this up all night?
I know, it's going to be worth it. I just got off the phone with Jon Stewart, and he is going to be our guest at SummerSlam.
Nice.
Could he win it last year?
I feel excited. Hey, Seth.
Hey, Seth. Shoot for so long. What's going on?
All right.
Tired. I'm going to exhaust it. I've been looking everywhere. All day trying to find this Dean King. I was on the parking lot. I was up at the marquee, the restrooms, catering. He might be in this office. You here? Good question. No, this isn't a likely place for the Dean King to hang out. Well, good.
You never know, though.
No, if he's not in here, then it's settled. That's it. I've looked over the entire building. I mean, look, I've got more important things to do. He's searching for the Demon King. I got to focus on my title match this Sunday. First Universal Champion right here. So I think it's only fair. I've done my part. I should get the night off.
Well, truthfully, we don't really have anything for you tonight, Seth. So if Mick agrees, then, we could give you the night off.
I have a suggestion. Before you take the night off, and you definitely deserve it, but before you take the night off, why don't you try calling him out from the ring and see if he appears? You want me to go to the ring? Yeah, call out the Demon King. That's the most likely place to get a response. Unless you're scared. There's nothing wrong with being scared.
You're not
I'm not scared.
You're not scared.
I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared of the Demon King. You want me to go out there in the ring and call him out? Yes.
Yeah.
You do it.
Definitely.
You do it.
Get him.
Hey, this is Raw General Manager Mick Foley. Will you hit Seth Rollins' music, please?
I don't know what was funnier, Seth Rollins being hesitant about going out to the ring or Mick Foley calling for the entrance music, I think was great. One thing I will say is obviously Jon Stewart is going to be present at SummerSlam. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big, I don't like it. And I'll tell you why. Because last time when Jon Stewart showed up at SummerSlam, it wasn't exactly the best moment on the planet. If anything, Jon Stewart, bashing John Cena with the chair and Seth Rollins winning the United States title and the world title at the same time, which was probably one of the worst endings to that match I'd ever seen. I remember being mad as fuck when Jon Stewart did that, but a lot of people cheered for mostly because A, they hate Cena, and B, because they didn't want to see him tie with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. So all I know is this: since he's going to be a personal guest of Mick Foley, I'm gonna hope and pray and assume that he's not going to get involved in the match between John Cena and AJ Styles. And I would not be shocked if Jon Stewart was backstage or in the ring and John Cena came out to confront him. Like, that's got to happen. Because Cena, dropping Jon Stewart with an attitude adjustment, the following night on Raw at the Barclays when Jon Stewart made that mistake. So I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know if Jon Stewart is going to be interfering in any matches, but I do know this. If he costs Finn Balor the Universal title, I'm going to be fucking pissed. So I'm going to be honest. I don't like the fact that Jon Stewart is going to be at SummerSlam. I'm not a supporter of this. I'm not a big fan of this. And I'm a little upset that WWE is doing this again, because it didn't work out so good the last time. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to move on to the next segment here, which is Seth Rollins in the ring. He comes out to the ring. He's in there, and he is ready to call out the Demon King. He's been trying to find him. He's been searching for him all throughout the show, has yet to find him. But the question is, will the Demon King show up on Raw? Well, Seth Rollins makes one last attempt to draw him out, and here's what happens.
I have never been more insulted in my entire life. Now, and I'll tell you why. Because last week, Finn Balor came out here and he gave the entire WWE Universe a little history lesson. He talked about warriors and ghouls and banshees and the Demon King. And for what? For what? I've been looking for this Demon King all day long and I can't seem to find him. So let me give you a little bit that you can sink your teeth in, a little tidbit of information that the entire world needs to hear. So CNN, get ready. ESPN, get ready. Fox News, Jonathan Stewart, John Coachman, everybody, get out your little phone, get on Twitter. I want the entire world to be able to sink their teeth into what I'm about to say. There is nothing and no one that can stop me from becoming the first ever WWE Universal Champion. I promise you that. I am on another level right now. And as for the Demon King, I searched all over this place and he's nowhere to be found. So out of courtesy, I'm going to give him one more chance. Right now, right here, I want the Demon King to come down to this ring and face me. So I can kick him off whatever throne he thinks he's sitting on and send him back into the history books. So come on, Demon King. Demon King, come on down. Where are you at? It's exactly like I thought. What did I tell you guys? Look, let me drop a little truth on you right here. Finn Balor is only trying to intimidate me because Finn Balor is fucking scared of me. Finn Balor is scared of me, and why wouldn't he be afraid of me? I get it. I get it because he's going to be just like every other person that steps into the ring with me before him. He's going to be beaten because no one can touch me. I'd be afraid of me too if I weren't me. If I were Seth freaking Rollins, I'd be terrified of me. And this Demon King, nah. He's just another chapter in the book of Rollins. And in my story, the Demon King, he won't come out to this ring and look me right in my eyes because he's terrified. He knows that if he looks in my eyes, he's going to see something more horrifying than any author could ever dream of. Finn Balor, I am the face of your failure. And at SummerSlam, you've got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. That Rollins in a trance, placed in a trance. That's the Demon King right there, huh? Is that the Demon King? Exactly what I thought. Nowhere to be found. And he's going to be there at SummerSlam. And guess what? It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, the Demon King
have no choice but to bow down. The demon king will have no choice to bow down to the man. He will have no choice but to bow down to the first son of you. Now heading The Demon King has just been unleashed.
Well, you ask, and you shall receive. The Demon King managed to show up on Monday Night Raw. It didn't get quite the response I thought it would, but that's because Corpus Christi, Texas was pretty lackluster throughout the show. But I'm almost certain when the Demon King shows up in Brooklyn, New York, I think it'll be better. But I definitely think they should have saved this for SummerSlam and waited for that part for the Demon to come out. But I just think maybe Finn Balor should have just came out, attacked Seth Rollins. Maybe not as the Demon, as a non-Demon character or whatever. Or maybe just had, it would have been funnier if he had Seth Rollins, if he called out the Demon King and he had like a lackey dressed as the Demon King and kind of made fun of it. And then Seth Rollins came out, and then Finn Balor came out, beat him down, and then cut a promo like, you think this is a game? This Sunday, you will meet the Demon King. And then have the Demon King come out. But either way, still a great segment. Epic beatdown by Finn Balor. And now, I think it's safe to say after this segment, there is no doubt that Finn Balor is walking out the Universal Champion. Now, WWE has been known to make mistakes and has been known to drop the ball on things that are simple and common sense knowledge. So the big deal here is, how much do they believe in the Demon persona? And are they willing to shatter the stereotype or the belief that people get called up to NXT have no future in the company or get treated like dirt when they come up? I think that's a very big question that needs to be answered. Definitely needs to be answered. Because I think Finn Balor needs to be the Universal Champion. And I'm not just saying that because I hate Seth Rollins. I will admit that is part of the reason. But the main reason is because this is the best way to get Finn Balor over. And with him winning the Universal title and Gallows and Anderson winning the tag belts, it guarantees us a better shot at seeing the Balor Club. Because Gallows and Anderson already have the attitude of the club already. But now they can call themselves the Balor Club and get together with Finn Balor now that AJ Styles is on SmackDown doing his own thing. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will now move on to the next match of the evening, tag team action. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Doctor, against the Golden Truth, who actually does their entrance this time. Fuckers. I felt so gypped out of seeing that over fucking Pokemon Go. But anyway, this tag match is basically, it was a decent match. Golden Truth did put up a bit of a fight, but obviously it was one of those matches where you knew going in that Gallows and Anderson were going to win because they got to look strong for the tag title match this Sunday. So they pretty much beat down on Goldust, took out Truth very quickly, and then hit the Magic Killer. 1, 2, 3. Gallows and Anderson win the match. And then after the match, Kofi and Xavier hit the ring and attack Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Woods grabs his trombone. He's about to hit Anderson in the groin and give him a little version of ring post Titus. when Gallows pulls him out. He just basically grabs him by his hands and he slides in between Kofi Kingston's legs, and Xavier misses with the trombone. And then the New Day smiles as Gallows and Anderson bail and retreat up the ramp, which in my opinion was exactly what needed to be done. I like that. You know, it shows that the New Day is not just going to back down and that Gallows and Anderson are not going to dominate the New Day. When we see this tag team title match this Sunday, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be something. We're going to see a real battle between these guys. And as talented as both teams are, I am still of the belief that Gallows and Anderson will walk out the World Tag Team Champions, the WWE World Tag Team Champions. To me, it's a definite moment. I see no reason why they shouldn't. And like I said, I think it's going to make the tag team division a lot better if we don't see the New Day with the tag team belts for a while. And on that note, we cut to the backstage area with Dana Brooke, who is obviously being apologetic to Charlotte because a few weeks ago, it was either last week, I think, was it, when Dana Brooke lost a one-on-one match to Sasha Banks, which means that now Dana Brooke is banned from ringside and Charlotte has to face Sasha all by herself for the WWE Women's Championship. And here's what Dana has to say about letting Charlotte down.
Charlotte, I know this is listen. After losing Sasha last week and now being banned from SummerSlam, I mean, you've done so much for me. No, Dana, I get it. You worked really hard in NXT. I was your inspiration, and you watched me compete over and over again on the WWE Network. Yeah, you know I did. I mean, I watched your every move. I know, and then you debuted on the main roster, and then your hero took you under her wing and showed you how big her humanitarian heart is, and she allowed you in her orbit. And then she did you a taste of what it's like to be in the spotlight. I mean, to feel the rush when you walk through the curtain, to be on posters, to be on buses. And then you realize you would do absolutely anything, never to lose the spotlight. Yeah, see, I knew you'd understand. I knew you should. Yes. Then why did you fail me when it mattered the most? But Charlotte, no, but stop. This isn't our spotlight. This is my spotlight. I'm Meryl Streep, and you're Anne Hathaway. And this devil will be wearing gold again after Sunday. And tonight, I will be beating Alicia Fox all by myself. And then on Monday, once I'm the two-time champ, I just might ask Stephanie McMahon to replace you with someone who isn't an epic failure. Oh, you're going to cry.
Wow. Once again, Charlotte is burning a bridge with someone. And it looks to me like she's ready to get rid of Dana Brooke and move on. So she's now determined to win the title back at SummerSlam. She wants to win the title, and she has something to prove against Alicia Fox. And that's the next match we see. Charlotte goes one-on-one with Alicia Fox, which is a very short match. Fox tries to roll her up for a 2 count and then a series of drop kicks, but Charlotte then starts throwing out some kicks of her own. She trips Fox off the turnbuckle, hits natural selection, gets the pinfall, and Charlotte wins the match. So Charlotte makes very quick work of Alicia Fox. Sasha's on commentary throughout the whole thing, and Dana Brooke, meanwhile, is sitting in the back realizing that she's not going to be the protege of Charlotte anymore. And the way I see it, Dana Brooke doesn't need to be a lackey or a bodyguard or a protege to anyone. Let Dana Brooke just be Dana Brooke. Let her stand on her own 2 feet. Let her dress the way she did in NXT. Let her be who she was down there. The total diva. That was a great persona, and it was perfect for her. But instead, they made her a bodyguard to Emma, and then when she had to go have back surgery, they put her with fucking Charlotte. Dana Brooke is so much better than that. She deserves better treatment than that. That is wrong. It is despicable. And it's disgusting how Dana Brooke is treated, when I know she has the perfect persona for what she wants to do. And I see no reason why she shouldn't be allowed to exercise her full potential. Now, of course, after the match, Charlotte points at Sasha's on commentary, tells her to come down to the ring. Banks gets inside the ring. Dana Brooke shows up. Banks drops Dana with an elbow. Charlotte chop blocks Banks and applies the figure eight. Dana starts stomping over Banks, who is tapping out. Charlotte won't break the hold. Then a WWE referee finally breaks it up and checks on Banks as Charlotte smiles. So basically, this is them celebrating they basically get a beat down on Sasha and use it as a way to weaken her for SummerSlam. Now, all I know is this. Charlotte was women's champion for a long time. Nobody enjoyed Charlotte as the women's champion. So I refuse to believe that Charlotte is going to walk out of Brooklyn the WWE women's champion. If Charlotte wins this Sunday, it will be a slap in the face to every wrestling fan. It will be a slap in the face to all of us. It's an insult if the false Flair is allowed to be women's champion again. Sasha needs to win this match, put her down, and then put Charlotte in the rearview mirror and get a new challenger and move on and put Charlotte in the background. Hell, have Charlotte feud with Dana Brooke. Maybe Dana isn't banned from ringside, and maybe Dana comes out to the ring anyway, but instead of attacking Sasha, she turns on Charlotte. You know, like Dana's all excited, but then Charlotte says, I didn't need you. Dana gets mad, turns on Charlotte, helps Sasha walk out retain the title, goes on her own, and has a feud with Charlotte. I think that'd be great. And then you get Sasha a new feud with the women's title. Somebody else comes into the fray that's on the roster and can fight and feud and work with her. I think that's a better way to go with the championship. And I'm still of the belief that the women's champion should be allowed to bounce back and forth between each show. I think SmackDown having its own women's championship and women's division is not going to work out well. You don't have enough stars on either roster to really make that work. You don't. You think you do, but you don't. And on that note, we will move on to the main event of the evening, the non-title match, Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, this is a non-title match. It's about Lana's honor. And then this Sunday will actually be for the U.S. title. All right, well, Roman Reigns wins the match, which is fine, so I have one problem. The one thing I didn't want to happen happened. Roman Reigns won clean. It was a one-on-one fight where the person won clean. And what this basically says to me, what this tells me is that now the U.S. title match has lost all of its luster. It's now blatantly obvious at this point that Roman Reigns is going to win the United States title, because to have Rusev continue to be United States champion is stupid. It is stupid. There is no reason for Rusev to continue with the title after this. And also, you just made the champion look weak. So even if he did win, it wouldn't be believable. So Roman is definitely going to walk out of Brooklyn, the United States champion. But the match is not going to have anything interesting in it unless you either A, add a stipulation, or B, the match is 100% different from what I just saw on Raw. You just gave away one of your top matches 6 days before the pay-per-view. So now, just like Charlotte and Sasha, there's not going to be as much interest because it's already happened. At least with Cesaro and Sheamus, it's a little bit different. I know people are going to say, well, that's already happened. Yeah. But now they're doing a best of 7. There's a stipulation added. There's something bigger coming up for them. This doesn't do anything. It was a main event that would have finished, that should have been saved for SummerSlam. Because it would have been cooler to see Rusev have this kind of match. No, to see Roman Reigns have this kind of match and this kind of victory and then be holding the United States Championship. Instead, it makes Rusev look weak because he failed to defend the honor of his wife. And not only that, like I said, it gave away the match. What are you going to do? Have him wrestle again 6 days later? What are you going to show me in that match that I didn't already see in this one? Same thing with, unless you're going to show me this time Roman winning the U.S. title. Same thing with Sasha and Charlotte. They had Sasha win the title on Monday Night Raw. They could have just had her win at SummerSlam, and it would have been more poetic. It would have been more epic. It would have been more special. Now, that special part has been taken away and replaced with this crap. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to be watching the match because it's a pay-per-view, and I'm obviously going to have to watch it so I can properly recap it Monday on the Boochcast, 22nd. But in terms of me giving a shit as a wrestling fan, that's now been taken away because of this. It's disappointing. It really is. I wish WWE could have found a better way to fill up the time. I know it's a 3-hour show, but I would have much rather have watched a bunch of segments during that time than to see a match that's already taking place this Sunday happen and have it end cleanly. It should have been a cheap win. It should have been a DQ. It should have been a count out. Something that should have happened. And I don't say that often. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude the recap of Monday Night Raw. Before I go, I see I got a little bit of time here before I definitely have to sign off because I got to get ready to go to the Big Orange Box. And it is 4:54 p.m. right now, and I know I got to be, by at least 5:45, I got to be on the road. And I still got to take a shower and do a lot of grooming habits. So what I'm going to do right now is, as I mentioned before, my good friend Derek Shapiro was here watching Monday Night Raw with me, and Derek had a couple thoughts of his own to share about Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to play that clip for you right now, and then we're going to finalize and end Season 6 of The Wonder Years. So here's the Shap Raw recap.
Derek Shapiro here. My commentary for Vinny Bucci about Monday Night Raw. This is my take on this. Because I want to thank Vinny Bucci for letting me watch it with him. Monday Night Raw. This is Raw. Now I can't eat a raw onion. That upsets my freaking stomach. I'll tell you this much. I need a ginger ale afterward. Vinny Bucci's opening ginger ale for my raw onion. It was a raw onion in the beginning. I'll tell you this. I fell asleep in the beginning. I woke up and saw the match. It was a weak beginning. That's why I fell asleep. But when I woke up, I saw one of the best matches of the night. Rocks beat up the Dudley Boys. I wanted Rusev to beat Roman Reigns.
a disappointing loss for him due to the fact that I'm Russian. So I love Lana. Lana Rusev. Russians stood together. But when Stephanie came out to the ring and Rusev called, she did the right thing. Mick Foley did the right thing, having Rusev fight for his wife's honor. But again, that was a disappointing loss in my heart. I really wanted Roman Reigns to lose. He didn't. I know why the Demon King is a Demon King. Wow. It was all over for Seth Rollins before the match even started. And Gallows and Anderson, they beat out the Golden Truth. And right after they won, the sneak attack from the new Six Jacks was awesome. My favorite was Nia Jax, beat out the little girl. I had an orgasm. And again, the orgasm returned when Charlotte beat Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks should Charlotte for the SummerSlam for taking trash. Yes, fucking trash, not taking trash. I can't remember my other words. I'm just drunk from this night. But Donna Brooke is my favorite because she didn't deserve about talking trash. She should take out the trash. I'm supportive. Dana. D&D sticks together. Dana and Derek. That's it for me. Yeah? What do you think? Yeah.
Okay, well, that right there was Derek Shapiro's bizarre take on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, we have different opinions, and obviously he didn't remember enough about Raw to really want to recap the whole thing or talk about major events. I guess that's what was more important to him. Well, anyway, I do thank Derek for coming over to watch Raw. There's a part of me that's still kind of pissed off at him for wanting to cancel plans with me to go to karaoke, which is why I definitely label him as a dummy.
Dummy, yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully he'll never pull that stunt with me again. So, but either way, I was glad to see him watch Monday Night Raw with me. I wish he could have been in studio with me today to talk about Raw, but actually I'm kind of glad that he wasn't because I had the technical difficulties earlier, which prevented me from doing what I really wanted to do. So on that note, I'm going to do I got one more thing before I go, and that is the end of season 6 of the Wonder Years. So basically, here's what we got. When we last left off from the recap, which was a while ago, we talked about the Little Women, the women's liberation movement getting stronger, and, Kevin and Jack being emasculated from the fact that Norma was getting a better paying job than Jack was, and Winnie scoring higher on the SATs than Kevin Arnold. And then their fragile male egos were beaten, so Jack and Kevin went bowling with their women, and they ended up eventually, at first it was just couples playing, but then eventually they decided to change it up and make it the men versus the women. Kevin and Jack dominated, and Norma and Winnie were good sports about it and just didn't give a shit and pretty much let Kevin and Jack live in, let them be stupid boys. Because unfortunately, that is what a lot of us are from time to time. We're very stupid boys. Because, losing to a girl is like the worst thing that can happen to a guy. And I don't mean that to sound disrespectful, and it's not rules that I wrote. It's just the way the world is. No matter how much equality men and women get, unfortunately, that is always something that is going to be something that will never change. I remember when I used to wrestle in high school, whenever we would see a female wrestler on another team, we would freak the hell out, trying to find out what weight class she was in to see which one of us was actually going to have our ego on the line. I looked out never having to wrestle a girl when I was in high school, when I was in high school or when I was in middle or high school. Although in middle school, I practiced with one girl on the team, and in high school, I had girls on my wrestling team that I practiced with from time to time, but never actually had to live wrestle them. We just practiced moves. That was it. And then of course, I would eventually do the stripper wrestling thing, but that was a whole another ball game. And which was a lot of fun, entertaining, and definitely something different and unique. So that's where we left off the last time. We got 3 more episodes, and then we can go. The next one is called Reunion. The Arnold clan flies to Norma's hometown for her 25th high school reunion. Norma's parents, Carl and Jane Gustafsson, making their first and only appearance in the series, expressed their continued disapproval of Jack. They attempted to set Norma up with her old high school sweetheart Roger, a medical doctor she almost ended up with. While staying at the Gustafssons, Norma is wooed by Roger. Jack is hurt in the sack race at the reunion picnic. Kevin is menaced by their Rottweiler, and Wayne takes inventory of the house. Kevin wonders why his father doesn't seem to mind that Norma puts up with her parents' meddling. Jack tells him his mother wanted more out of life than this small town had to offer, so she quickly left everyone behind. This makes Kevin finally understand his mother's desire to break old routines. And that was ultimately it. So, like when Norma was going on the date with Roger, Jack knew that Norma wanted nothing to do with Roger. And that no matter how much Roger tried to get hook up with Norma, she would just say, I had a great time to her parents, and her parents would live in the ignorance that, ooh, Norma still has feelings for Roger. But it's like, no, fuck you guys. I love my husband, Jack. That's pretty much what Norma's saying when she says, oh, it was fine. It's a nice fuck you to her disapproving parents. And, it's very interesting to see that, because they left, they lived in small towns and wanted to get out and, see the world. And when I see that in a way, it kind of reminds me of stories that my mom used to tell me. Like my mom told me when she was young, like she lived in a small town in Clifton Heights. And, she lived, I don't know if she lived in Clifton Heights, but she definitely lived in a small town. And almost everybody that she knew was either married or pregnant or getting pregnant at a young age or getting married at a young age. And were pretty much settling down and having kids way too early in life. And my mom never wanted to end up like any of those people she went to school with. So she went out into the city. She did dancing. She did ballet, made the Pennsylvania Ballet, was on top of the world. And then eventually, and she was able to at least somewhat walk away on her own terms. And, eventually she married my dad, and they had me and my brother, and they got out of that town. And, my mom wanted to leave her small town behind. So when I heard that story about Norma, because like I said before, I mentioned this before when talking about the Wonder Years, I'd never really seen every episode of the show. So some of these episodes I've seen in the past, some of them I've never seen. And when I heard that instantly reminded me of some of the stories my mom had told me over the years about herself. Because, sometimes the older you get, the more you learn about your parents. And, so her story was almost similar to mom's, except my mom didn't have an old high school sweetheart trying to woo her at every given time. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that wasn't the case. And on that note, we'll go on to the next episode here, which is part 1 of the 2-part series finale, which is called Summer. Winnie takes a summer job as a lifeguard at a hotel resort, while Kevin considers a cross-country trip with his friends, an idea that Jack soon squashes. Frustrated, Kevin then quits his job at Jack's factory and drives to the resort to see Winnie. So obviously between this time, Kevin has left his job at the Chinese diner and is now working in his dad's factory. So he quits the job and drives to the resort to see Winnie. Kevin then takes a job as a waiter to be near Winnie, but is then disappointed when he and Winnie are so busy, they have no time for each other. Kevin gambles his gas money playing poker with the resort's band and manages to win big, wins a ton of money, does a hell of a job. But later, when he finds Winnie to tell her of his good fortune, he becomes shocked to see Winnie kissing a coworker. So in that moment, Kevin finds out that the reason Winnie is so distant from Kevin is because while she's been at the resort working as a lifeguard, she's been cheating on Kevin, which is quite possibly the most shocking and fucked up moment on the planet Earth. Because usually you expect the guy to be the cheater in a lot of relationships. But no, in this one, it was Winnie. It was Winnie who fucked it up. And I was like, holy shit. Because you're expecting these two to be the star couple that's together forever, and then this shit happens. Which is kind of disappointing, especially when, you sometimes you want to go on a cross-country trip with your friends because sometimes you just need to get away. I know that feeling sometimes. You need to get away. Sometimes going on a cross-country trip can, I know people that have done that to go out and find themselves, and some people feel like you don't need to find yourself or you don't need to take the trip, but you don't need to do anything, and everybody says you can do it later, and then sometimes people get older and realize that they should have done it a long time ago or whatever. But either way, this is a big moment, which leads us to the season finale, Independence Day. Kevin is furious with Winnie over infidelity, plays another poker game. This time loses all his money and his car. He then punches the guy Winnie kissed, quits his job, and hitchhikes home because he is now without a car. Winnie is fired from her job because of Kevin's tirade, and she too hitches a ride back home. And Kevin happens to be picked up by the same couple. So they both end up in the car, in the backseat of the car. Winnie tells Kevin her side of what happened, but their argument becomes so heated they are both dropped off at the side of the road. Soon after, a thunderstorm occurs, and they find refuge in an old barn where they decide they don't want to lose their childhood relationship. The next day, they make it back home just in time for the Independence Day parade, and present-day adult Kevin reveals the fates of himself, his family, and his friends from that day onward. And, of course, in this episode, Kevin and Winnie legitimately are mad at each other and pissed off. Kevin can't believe that Winnie cheated. Winnie gets mad at Kevin for going to visit the girl at the lake, and apparently Winnie found that out, which she tries to throw that in his face. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to say this because I'm a guy. I'm trying to take the guy's side. But technically, when she went to visit the girl at the lake, Kevin and Winnie were not officially back together yet. They were still trying to figure shit out. By this time, they're an actual couple. So technically, I don't see Kevin as someone who cheated in this relationship. I see Winnie as someone who did. Because they were still on the fence about what they really wanted to do. At least that's how the story was being told by the present-day Kevin. So for Winnie to get mad about that, especially when nothing even happened between her and the girl at the lake, the second time he went over there anyway, I thought was just stupid. And the fact that the writers tried to make that a reason was stupid. And the fact that you ended up splitting up Kevin Arnold and Winnie Cooper was the dumbest decision ever made. It was stupid, it was pointless, and it let down a ton of people. In fact, I'm trying to see where it was. They were disappointed in the ending, and that Kevin and Winnie don't end up as a couple. And then they tried to explain, they acknowledged disappointment, saying, some viewers were surprised that nothing works out the way your fondest wish should be. The message I wanted in there is that that's part of the beauty of life. It's fine to say I'd like everything to be just the way it was when I was 15, I was happy. But it seemed more nurturing to me to say that we leave things behind and we go on to forge new lives for ourselves. Well, I understand that was Brush's reason to explain that. It's still the dumbest fucking reason on the planet Earth. People watch movies to escape reality. We know that things don't always work out, but we watch TV to escape from that. It would be the equivalent to if you're a fan of the TV show Friends and you find out that Rachel never gets off the plane and Ross and Rachel never get back together. How pissed off people would have been. That to me was the worst ending they could have gave, and to me it was a slap in the face to me as a viewer. And again, I didn't know this going in because I never saw every episode. So when I found out they weren't together at the end, I felt like I had just wasted all this time watching The Wonder Years. And I feel like an idiot because I used to talk about great couples throughout television history, not realizing that Kevin Arnold and Winnie Cooper technically don't belong on that list. So now I feel like a moron. And I bet a lot of other people thought I was a moron too when I brought up Kevin Arnold and Winnie Cooper. Well, I have 3 clips left here. All of them are from the very last episode. So this is the scene where Kevin and Winnie find refuge in the barn. They're not having a hard time talking to each other, but this is the moment where they decide they don't want their friendship or relationship to end. And here's how that unfolds. Well, there you have it. Now, in that moment, that's while they're basically they're kissing passionately inside the barn, you know, and they make up. And basically, here it's implied that in this scene, this was Kevin Arnold and Winnie Cooper finally having sex. Because they asked. Now, of course, it's loosely implied they lost their virginity, but we found out later in interviews, Winnie Cooper. I'm going to say that because I can't think of the real actress's name at the top of my head right now, though I'm sure I could find it. Danica McKellar in recent interviews said that they did actually go all the way and have sex in this scene. So she revealed it. So unless she's lying, here, Kevin Arnold and Winnie Cooper officially lost their virginity to each other. After everything they've been through, this was their final moment of actually having sex with each other. Now, they don't actually show the sex. They just see them making out, and then they cut to them returning back to their hometown just in time for the 4th of July. But it's implied they had sex. Obviously, they didn't show anything except them kissing. And then they get back to their hometown, and here's what happens.
The next day, Winnie and I came home, back to where we started. It was the 4th of July in that little suburban town. Somehow, though, things were different. Our past was dear, but our future was somewhere else. And we both knew, sooner or later, we had to go. It was the last July I ever spent. The next year after graduation, I was on my way. Studied law. He's still allergic to everything. as for my father, well, let's do it. Eventually, Mama! Hey, we were family. For better or worse. One for all. And all for one. Cameron's son was born next September. I gotta say, I think he looks like me. Poor kid. Mom, she did well. Businesswoman, foreign chairman, grandmother, mashed potatoes. The waiter stayed on in furniture. Wouldn't seem to suit him. In fact, he took over the factory 2 years later when Dad passed away. We left the next summer to study art history in Paris. Still, we never forgot our promise. We wrote to each other once a week for the next 8 years. I was there to meet her when she came home. My wife, my first son, 8 months old. Like I said, things never turn out exactly the way you planned. Good. Good boy. And is that the home? That's bad. Yeah. Growing up happens in a heartbeat. One day you're in diapers, the next day you're gone. But the memories of childhood stay with you for the long haul. I remember a place, a town, a house, like a lot of houses. A yard like a lot of other yards. On a street like a lot of other streets. And the thing is, after all these years, I still live back. With wonder. I'll be right there.
Now, what's interesting about that last scene is the fact that that's Daniel Stern's actual real son saying that in the background, which is actually pretty cool. And it's a great, interesting climactic ending. And you realize how kind of sad it is. Kevin and Winnie never get together. The dad dies. Wayne kind of takes over the business, which is okay. Paul goes on to become a lawyer. And obviously they stay friends. And then, of course, you find out, I was there to meet Winnie at the airport with my wife and my first son. So you find out Kevin gets married, has 2 kids, because he mentions he had 2 kids in a previous episode. And so obviously his first son was 8 months old. But then, of course, the second son came a little later. Second son came a little later. But one thing I found a little sad about this is, again, and on one hand, it was a great ending in the sense that, the whole narration where he said growing up happens in a heartbeat. One day you're in diapers, the next day you're gone, but the memories of childhood stay with you for the long haul. I remember a place, a town, a house, like a lot of houses, which is similar to what he said in the very first episode. A yard like a lot of other yards, on a street like a lot of other streets. And the thing is, after all these years, I still look back with wonder, which is why I called the title of last Thursday's episode, I Still Look Back with Wonder. because it was a great way to end the series. Even though it's a little sad that Kevin and Winnie don't get together, which makes the whole thing for me an epic waste of time. So I'm a little sad about that. And because I didn't know that, I'm glad I know that. So I know now not to put the Wonder Years as, Kevin and Winnie as a couple to look up to. And I definitely, sure as hell, would not want to sit through a lot of these episodes again because of that. So I feel like I got taken for a fool after watching all 6 of these seasons. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up this episode of the Boochcast for today. I want to thank everybody so much for tuned in live. If you were able to tune in live, I thank everybody for listening in the archives. I apologize for the first show that went really bad, but I'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. West Coast time, with another fun-filled, action-packed episode of the Boochcast. There'll be a recap of SmackDown Live, as well as some other fun things coming your way. So until next time, this is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, saying keep on living life and take care. Also, don't forget you can subscribe to the YouTube channel Booch316 to see all past episodes of the Boochcast, all my fun segments in the Booch segments section. You can find my stand-up comedy. You can find my karaoke songs, including the one that just got uploaded yesterday with me singing The Saga Begins at Chaplin's, which was written by Weird Al Yankovic. So make sure you check that out on my YouTube channel, Booch316. Hit the subscribe button so that every time I go live, you can check it out. So until next time, this is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, saying keep on living life and take care. This has been the Boochcast. I'll chat with you guys tomorrow right here on Blog Talk Radio and YouTube.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.